Namaste. Do you worry about contradicting yourself? I wanted to talk about something which almost every guy wonders at some point of time in his life, and probably not just guys, I'm just trying to talk generally about human beings. That you'll start wondering if the way you were living up until now, or the decisions that you took up until now, were they wrong? Or now that I took them, oh my god, how do I make them work? When that is the one thing that I want to stick to, but everything else is dynamic and is changing. For example, maybe you made a decision that you never want to buy a house because maybe you have certain thoughts on renting versus possession. Maybe it was that you never wanted to get into science because you just hated nerds and geeks, and then 5 years down the line you find yourself inching towards topics of interest which are of a scientific nature. So no matter what the context is, basically going forward in life, today we make some decisions. Once we have made those decisions, we like to remain within the confines of those decisions, which there is nothing wrong with in the first place. Like, if you want to remain in the plan which you make, obviously everyone makes plans and they are needed. There's nothing wrong with that, but to have a plan that is not dynamic or mobile in nature, or have the executor of the plan be a non-dynamic entity who is not flexible, such as a human being that remains stuck up in his own decisions or in his own thinking, leads to a person not being able to move on to the next stage of life, which might be contraindicatory to the previous ones, but in the sum total at the end of the day still yield a net benefit, which today might not be clear to us simply because we can't see the future. But the best thing that we can do up until now is make a decision based on the evidence or the information that we have up until now. And if that asks us to change course, you shouldn't be scared of it. Okay? Because I have seen so many people, whether it is the Chinese concept of saving face, that because they want to save face, they don't want to backtrack on what they said in front of other people. Social stigma and reputation is at stake. Instead of saving face, it could simply be invested costs that up until now, let's say, oh my god, I spent 2 years doing engineering, and now after 2 years I'm realizing this is really not for me, so I shouldn't leave it now. Fuck it, because I took the decision, now I'm here, now I might have to stay in it. No. And I'm also at the same time not saying that any time, any moment, something when it gets difficult or hard to keep your interest in, that you leave it. No, that's not either what I'm saying. I'm just saying that wherever it is possible, or it's coming from the core of your being, that something else is what is going to pull you towards itself, whether a new decision, a new way of life, whatever the hell it is. You don't need to stick to the picture you drew of yourself. Alright? You don't need to do that. You are gonna limit the potential that you have for your own life. Because how you decided to live life when you were maybe 20 years old, starting to think you're an adult who can make choices, it will definitely change as time goes on. And I feel that in the entire process of adulting, we should have been maybe even forewarned that the first, let's say, decade of adulting is going to be the hardest, and obviously it's the most novel one, where most of the novel and new stuff is happening. Okay, so anyway, that's a different topic. Don't worry about contradicting yourself when it simply means you're willing to see where you were wrong, or you're willing to understand where your understanding was limited, or you're willing to do course correction simply because at the end of the day, what you care about more is efficiency and optimization. Perfection is not going to come. We have spoken on these topics, before, and I myself struggle with it so hard. I mean, now I'm better. But overall, the entire idea of living a life based on how we think or plan it out to be is quite flawed in its own nature, because it takes life as a dynamic to be constant. Like it takes life as a factor to be constant, whereas it is a dynamic. It's not a constant. It's something that keeps changing. So based on how life keeps changing, if you gotta upgrade yourself, if you gotta switch yourself, if you gotta go backwards for a while in order to then walk forwards on the right path for the remainder of time, don't let that not happen by simply being too attached to the image of yourself or the way you have attached your decisions as tags to your life. All right, don't let that be a limitation from actual optimization and efficiency, because that is an ongoing process. That's one of the peace principles as well for the free men, that happiness is an ongoing process. And having an ongoing process means continuous process improvement, continuous course correction, continuous checking for wastage, leakage, etc. But that is too hardcore business. Just think of it in terms of, let's say think of your own life maybe even as a business, and how you want to optimize it. You want to make it more efficient. One way I would love to make it more efficient is getting rid of pimples that are coming in such optimal places. But don't mind me, I'm just eating too much cheese, too much pizza, so it's bound to happen. But I hope you guys got my message, whoever was listening to this. I don't know where this is going to go up, but just wanted to talk on it, so recorded it for now. Let's see where we put it up. If you heard it, hope you learned something. Share it with somebody who might as well benefit. Cheers.